Hello and welcome to CNR Extra. My name is Nanatufu Boate. Coming up. High Court dismisses application by special prosecutor to freeze assets of late former Forestry Commission Chief Executive Officer Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, popularly known as Sir John. Confusion erupts at North Jowilo between squatters under the high-tension post and authorities over the demolition of their structures.
If they want to do something, they should let us know before they come and demolish. You cannot demolish Ghanaians just for free. We don't have any affordable house for us. Or are we not Ghanaians? There are many affordable houses lying in the bush while nobody is sleeping in.
Also coming up, government's attempt to get the 4 teacher unions on strike over the cost of living allowance to return to the classroom fails again as a meeting with them ends in a stalemate.
David, yes, asking us to call off our strike before negotiations begin. So what it means is that the government side is not ready to continue negotiations unless the teacher unions call off strike. They've held all organized labor hostage. And this is a betrayal of trust.
And later, Speaker of Parliament constitutes ad hoc body of 5 parliamentary committees to probe the activities of the National Food Buffer Stock Company and the National School Feeding Program.
I am directing leaders of the following 5 committees to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the activities of these 2 organizations and report to Parliament.
Many thanks for choosing us. On CNR Extra, we have a discussion on the stories that made it into our major news bulletin, that is CNR. And so, as I just mentioned, the show is conversational, it is interactive. And so we'd like to hear from you. We want you to send in your comments, your thoughts about the various stories that we will be discussing via the WhatsApp number 0550 585832 0550585832. Send us your thoughts and your comments on the various stories that we will be discussing. But in the studio here with me, of course, to bring you the show is Philip Nilate from the City Newsroom. Good to see you again, Philip.
Good to see you, Nanatufu.
Right, let's get straight into the issues, the stories for today. Our Special Prosecutor Kisia Jabing has been in court, or is still in court, seeking to freeze the assets of the late former Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, also known as Sir John. Let's bring you that clip before we get into the discussion.
The High Court in Accra has dismissed an application by the Special Prosecutor to freeze the assets of late former Forestry Commission Chief Executive Officer Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, popularly known as Sir John. The court, presided over by Justice Sewa Asare-Botwe, was of the view that the process taken by the Special Prosecutor was wrong.
According to Justice Asare-Botwe, the OSP should have initiated the process using Section 54 of the Special Prosecutors Act, which deals with cases where an individual dies or absconds. The Office of the Special Prosecutor commenced investigations into alleged corruption by Sir John last month over improper acquisition of state lands within the Achimota Forest and the Sakumo Ramsar site contained in the will of the late CE.
Well, I think the Special Prosecutor Kisia Jabing deserves some commendation. One, for being proactive in taking up this matter, owing to the fact that really it's been in the public domain ever since the will of Sir John came out.
We woke up one morning, we saw it on Twitter.
Exactly.
It was trending.
Yeah.
And I saw just a page of it. And what is in there is shocking, because a number of people were asking why will someone be owning a parcel of land in Achimota Forest and also the Ramsar site, and those places are not supposed to be given to...
And not just anybody, for a former CEO of the Forestry Commission.
Exactly. Yeah. So people were asking questions, and it's exactly a public interest story or a public interest issue that the public must know who really owns it and whether truly it's owned by the late former CEO for the Forestry Commission. So I think that is something that the
special prosecutor should be applauded for doing. But he said that the assets must be frozen because if they conduct an investigation into it, and by the end, by the time they are done with the investigations, the assets wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
So certainly it has to be frozen. So I understand he is going to appeal that particular
yes, that's the update we have. Though the court dismissed his application to freeze the assets of Sir John, he's in the process of filing an appeal on that ruling or judgment by the court. Now, what really is the issue here is, for me, has to do with the acquisition of state lands. I mean, you would wonder that if people who should know better or should be protecting state lands are rather acquiring them privately, then really there's cause for concern. Then whoever the alluvial owners of these lands can also come up and lay claim to same lands. We're seeing instances where people have laid claim to certain lands where the state has had to come in and fight these individuals.
It brings in this case where the general public don't even trust the government. They don't trust the officials in there. They will want you to declare your asset when you're a public official or you are sitting in a position where...
I mean, by law, you should. I mean, Act 286 of Article 286 of the Constitution.
So you should declare your asset. So we all thought that we are thinking that wouldn't be true, but like the special prosecutor is doing, he has to do his job, and I think he should be allowed to do the job so that this is going to serve as a deterrent to other people who may be thinking of acquiring government lands or public lands, lands that are meant for important things in the country. I think that the special prosecutor should be applauded, and whatever comes out of it must be made known to the general public.
Right. I mean, he is in court. He actually already had frozen the assets of Sir John. He only went to court to confirm the freezing of the assets, and just as you mentioned, that by the end of the investigations, these assets will still be available, and whatever the outcome of the investigation will be applied to these assets. But you see, it shouldn't end there with Sir John, because by law, as I mentioned earlier, Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution, proscribes that you declare your assets and liability as a public office holder. I mean, you should be able to fill the asset declaration form, submit to the Auditor General. Exactly, you take up the position. And so really we need to know if all our public office holders have done same, and then we can make a proper assessment of what they came into office with and
what they are living with.
Exactly. Then, of course, we make the demolition office rule to acquire so and so. Then we can conduct a proper investigation.
Because when the issue came out, Twitter was actually buzzing. People were wondering why, they were asking why goes to be owning all these assets and all that. But I think that it must be made clear. So by the end of the entire process, the truth must be made known. Because when the issue also came, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry came out to indicate that, nothing of that, and it can be, the document cannot be found at the Lands Commission, and that Sir John doesn't own any.
And that's why we need people like the OSP to take up some of these cases, and then we'll do a proper investigation. Let's move on to our next story, where we understand there was some sort of a confrontation between squatters at North Jowulu, those who live under the high tension poles, and of course the authorities, when the latter moved in to demolish their structures. It is captured in this clip that was aired on the City Newsroom last night.
Squatters squat anywhere they can, and in Ghana there are a lot of them. For over 2 years, squatters have settled and continually plied their trade under high tension poles of the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, behind the Fiesta Royal Hotel at North Jowulu and Bawaleshi in the Ayawaso West constituency. In view of this, GridCo undertook a demolition exercise to remove structures put up by encroachers. According to GridCo, the activities of the squatters pose a threat to its transmission lines and towers, and as well put their lives in danger.
This engagement started last year. You also care about them. We know that living under the line in such places is very, very dangerous, and it's very detrimental to their own health. So those lines, as we know, can snap at any time, and when a line of that nature snaps, it can be disastrous. That is why we are going ahead to make sure that people don't stay under the transmission line, so that they can be safe. There's no point endangering your life because you you are staying under the transmission line. There's no point.
But this did not settle well for these squatters. Selassie Francis had his 6 shops demolished.
Right now, what is going on? A lot. I have a kiosk. I have a store. I have a different business that I run. Everything has been collapsed. Container, about 6 kiosks is being pushed down. Where are we going to find in this hard this hard situation that we are in, Ghana is in? Where are we going to refine all our monies? Are we not citizens? Or are we spectators? Or are we foreigners? I'm asking the general public. If they want to do something, they should let us know before they come and demolish. You cannot demolish Ghanaians just for free. We don't have any affordable house for us. Or are we not Ghanaians? There are many affordable houses lying in the bush whilst nobody is sleeping in. We are suffering.
However, Francis's concern of them not giving prior notice was corroborated by others.
They didn't give any notice. They didn't tell us anything. This morning we're supposed to go work. Then because of this thing, we for stop the work going. Then if I go tomorrow work where they say I'll be sacked. Government is coming to provide a work for me.
So should they have given you notice, you would have moved quietly?
We have done something about it. We have done something about it. Affordable houses, they build all over in Ghana. They couldn't allow anybody to stay inside. It became bushy. We have traveled far away from our hometown to the city to come and aim a living. Then see what mess inside it put us. If rain is supposed to fall now, a small available things that you can use to cater for yourself, it wet or it spoiled, who's going to pay for it?
The squatters say the demolition began as early as 4 a.m. At Bawaleshi, squatters had to pack their properties into classrooms nearby. Electrical appliances were all destroyed.
So I came 3 days today before. So this morning I wake up, I say, let me come to shop. Before my partner called me that they came here to demolish. As a technician, as a electrical or electronics engineer, I know when you are standing under this high voltage, it's not good.
Because it's I'm musi anu enya mafita for adentna enya mafita for na anya makadless for because you know muche wanu masa omu makadless ani na ye main problem ye ntia se so musa aya attention ya tia se adentna mu makadless masa hwewuchi so usi mi boa hwewuchi adentna mu baa no omo mu nya nipa adentna mu baa no mo nko eden mo nko se mu ne ma abeno baa no edwuma na akita ma ye
The demolition was peaceful, but later became chaotic as squatters alleged that an unidentified man slapped one of them. Explaining the developments that led to the demolition, the assembly member of the North Jowlu electoral area indicated that the demolition was under discussion with authorities, but there was no conclusion as to when it will begin.
The matter is before us last 2 weeks. We had our general meeting last 2 weeks, and it happens to be the Greco wants to come and then do demolition. So it's before us. We haven't finished with them. That is why I haven't done any, further announcement within the electoral area. This falls under Greco, and it's a power high tension. It has its implications health-wise. So, yes, this place is not permanent, and it's illegal for them to stay. But as we all know, we are all human beings, and we know we need to protect each other. So, yes, I'm aware that the place is illegal.
The Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon, Lydia Al-Hassan, further called for ample time to be given the squatters to vacate.
I perfectly understand the exercise you're undertaking, but you don't just use a day. They came there last night to tell some of them that they are coming today, so they should pack out. I mean, they are Ghanaians. I am not condoning or I'm not supporting the fact that they should live in conditions that would affect their health. No. But then, we are pleading for time. They should give them ample notice and then let them live peacefully.
Well, Philip, I mean, judging from the posturing of the Member of Parliament for the area, I mean, what do you make of this? I want to agree with her to an extent that indeed the squatters should have been given ample time. That we cannot confirm because usually demolition exercise, we know that you'll be seeing the remove and all that written on the kills and all that. And they could still be staying there. But really, regardless of the time you are given, you are staying there illegally. And also there's danger to your lives based on where you are staying under the high tension post.
But why will you even look on seeing a structure being erected? 1, 2, 3.
Clearly, it doesn't start with 100 structures. Exactly. It starts with one. Yeah.
And you sit down and you watch these people settle at these places, and later you come and demolish it. Nana, when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of need, right, we understand that the first one, that is the physiological needs. You are having air, you are having water, you are having shelter, which is very important. Everybody will want to move from wherever he or she is to the capital city and do a trade or do business, and at the end of the day, the person wants somewhere to lay his or her head. So wherever the individual finds that maybe it's not being monitored well, certainly I'm going to stay there. So what did the various authorities do about it? Looking at all these things happening, they sit down and nothing is being done about it. In the clip we watched, someone made mention of the Saglami housing project, which is very important. We know that is about 5,000 housing units expected to be constructed. As of the last time I visited there with the Works and Housing Minister, Francis Nsubuachi, the ministry indicated that some 1,064 units have been completed. Why wouldn't you give it out? Even if there are issues with the buildings or with the process it went through, we shouldn't bear the brunt. It's the state's money. So at the end of the day, we should see it being utilized. It shouldn't be there and lying there aloof, because we have housing problem in this country. For which reason private people who are building and giving out these houses or these buildings are taking exorbitant amounts. Because today you would go to a place and you're just going to rent like a chamber and whole apartment. You're going to get it like 700 Ghana cedis or 800 Ghana cedis. The petty trader and the people you find at North Jowulu who are staying there,
under these high tension posts,
they will be selling the water in the traffic. They'll be selling the shops. So how would the person raise an amount of like 800 or 900 Ghana cedis to rent an apartment, say chamber and hall self-contained? So I think this comes to play. Gridco shouldn't sit down aloof watching these people settle under high tension, which is a risk to your life. I covered a story like that in the Gbawe. Apparently someone was buying a land beneath high tension. Who does that? And the various authorities will sit down, and this is investment that has gone in. Even if it's a plywood should sell about maybe 50 to 60 Ghana cedis.
Clearly, they've lost property. And also there's the danger to lives as well.
I think that if you are evicting them or you are moving them out of the place, the various authorities must also do their part to ensure that they don't settle there in the first place. And you now go there to now clear them. And government must do something about the affordable housing unit.
Very salient points. Very recent point where it's just at the point of beginning. But you see, such a demolition clearly will come with some dangers posed to the victims of this demolition exercise. Last night, we went back there to check the conditions of the affected persons, and this is captured in this report.
Children are all here with their parents. Some of them are also basically helping, hoping to pass the night with their mother. And here is, I'm told, is left in the open as of this time because their structure has been demolished by the GridCo officers. We are still moving from place to place to see if we can engage some of them. Oh, hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What's your full name?
Herman Kwabena.
Now, is that your baby?
Yeah, that's my baby.
How many months old is she?
Oh, 1 week. Thursday come, she'll get 1 week.
So it's not even up to a month yet?
Man, not a week. Thursday before she'll get a week. Thursday coming. This Thursday before she'll be 1 week.
Not a week. So how are you going to cope this night?
We don't know how to do. So we'll just, hire ourselves under our things.
But for how long have you been living here?
Oh God, to be frank, is it 2015 that way? Yeah.
So you were here when they came to do the first demolition?
Yeah, first and second. This is the third one.
What was the communication from the authorities to you before they demolished the very first structure you built here?
Oh, okay, nothing. They just said that they are coming to demolish. At times they say that they give us 2 days or 3 days before you realize, they are here. Then if they will come, they will not come in the morning. You're done. 2, 3 that way. You understand? You are on bed then before you stand. They started scatter the things. So that's how they have been.
What reason has been given to you with regards to the demolition?
Oh, there's no reason behind. There's no reason behind. What they tell us is high tension. So there's no need for us to be under high tension.
This is a young lady trying to put her efforts together. She has no place to sleep. She's trying as much as possible to nail and join the wood together just to have a place to lay her head tonight. So we are going under this makeshift they've done. Good. So they are sleeping here tonight. Good. And this is your mattress and your stuff. This was demolished some hours ago.
Early morning, about around 4:30 that way. That's the thing. That's the time the thing happened.
Now, how many children do you have? Do you have a wife?
I have wife and my kid has 3. So including with my wife, we are 5 in the family.
For how long have you been living here?
I've been here for the past 20 years or 15 years ago.
You do?
Okay, I'm a mason.
So now tell us, on a daily basis, how do you live your life in Accra?
Okay, in my daily basis, as I said earlier on that I'm a mason, I used to do construction. When work come, they just call me and I will just go and do it. And later on, I will just bring the money to the family. Then we share together.
Well, very disturbing that a 1-week-old baby would have to pass the night in the open. Yes. Because the structure of his parents have been demolished. But then, if you're judging from the clip we just shown, these people have been dead. There's been a first demolition, a second one. They've waited for a third. Quite serious.
And that's just happened. The demolition, if I can say, they happened.
Well, some 24 hours ago.
24 hours,
yeah.
But they are staying there again less than maybe 8 hours or 12 hours after the demolition exercise. So if you've done the demolition exercise, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that they do not return there again?
Exactly.
Because these people, they are hungry. They want a place to stay.
If there is land, they will accommodate.
Exactly.
I mean, they will stay on the land.
And let's just bring it down to what happened at Abu Blushi when the onion markets were moved to Ajenkutuku. When you get to Ajenkutuku now they've made sure that at least you have places to stay and all that. So I think that the people staying beneath this high tension and all that, one, the various authorities, i.e. the
Assembly, the GridCo,
and even the Ministry of Gender and Children, they also have to come inside because they have to ensure that if children are staying there and it's not well, they have to also ensure that the children get a better place
for the
to
welfare
stay.
of the children.
For these children. So I think that when you are done with the demolition exercise, you should put in a measure that would ensure that they don't come back.
At least fence the place, cordon off the place, and so that these people do not return. Put in some security people to monitor or to drive away people
and get a place for them to stay as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's they would say it will be difficult because really, if I'm going to get somewhere for you to say who's paying for it, you acquired my land illegally. I have come to take my land, so there's no responsibility on me to provide you a place. But you see, the danger is you allow people to start coming in there from one person to they go to the village, go bring a sister or a brother to come and help, and before you know, it is a community. And then you now move in to demolish or to evict.
We have a lot of communities of
exactly
these
scattered around the capital, even in parts of the other parts of the country.
High tension and all that, and they don't believe that their lives are at danger.
Yeah,
because if something should happen to them, they'll say, okay, they are surviving. They want their livelihood.
They won't think about the danger of the high tension because their immediate need is a place to lay their head. And so they will take up the space.
So the authorities, we will beg you, don't go there, go and demolish and you leave the place like that. If you go and demolish, ensure that you put in measures in place so that they would not return there again. Then you go and do another demolition because they are spending money.
Well, on the issue of survival, I mean, teachers are on strike demanding 20% of their allowances as a cost of living allowance be paid to them. Government sought to meet them to intervene in this matter, but we understand the meeting ended in a stalemate. There's a report on this. It aired on CNR last night.
The government's attempt to get the 4 teacher unions on strike over the cost of living allowance to return to the classroom failed, as a meeting with them ended in a stalemate. During the meeting on Tuesday, the government asked the leadership of the unions to call off their strike before negotiations began, but the teacher unions remained adamant and subsequently staged a walkout. What is the impact of the walkout on ongoing negotiations with the over 20 labor unions who are also demanding the cost of living allowance? City News' Kojajaman has more in the following report.
The meeting was another attempt by the government to persuade the teachers to return to the classroom. It was also to formally meet over 20 labor unions who have also threatened to strike over the cost of living allowance. The labor laws do not permit the government to engage any group who are on strike. The strike must be called off before negotiations begin. The government team, led by the finance minister, sought to enforce the labor laws, but this was counterproductive and took a toll on the meeting with other unions. The leadership of the teacher unions described the situation as unfortunate and indicated that they will continue with their strike until further notice.
They are not ready to welcome us to this meeting.
Meaning what?
Yes. They do not want to welcome us to this meeting, and we cannot begrudge them. So that is why we are walking out.
When you say they don't want to welcome you, but you were in there and they walked in and...
Yes, we received invitation under organized labor, and we are part of organized labor.
They are indicating and asking us to call off our strike before negotiations begin.
Exactly.
So what it means is that the government side is not ready to continue negotiations unless the teacher unions call off strike. They've held all organized labor hostage. And this is a betrayal of trust, because the understanding we had is that organized labor has been convened for us to find solution to the issue of cola. Right now, since we are undesirable, we think that before they even walk us out of the meeting, we are walking out of the meeting ourselves.
We are not boycotting the meeting. There are other people still in there.
Why are you leaving?
That one will talk to you about it, but for now, the strike is still in force.
The meeting included relevant stakeholders such as the Finance, Education, Health and Labour Ministries, as well as the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the National Labour Commission. The Labour Front also included the Ghana Medical Association, the Public Services Workers Union and other tertiary teacher unions. A representative of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, Michael Oswansam, accused the government of using inappropriate methods to resolve issues. He warned more unions will join the strike if things continue this way.
If government has that concern, government could have called a meeting earlier than the 2 o'clock and then engage those striking unions before meeting the bigger union. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And so organized labor thought that the timing we had is a timing for everyone. So to ask the striking unions to step aside before conversation begins was not acceptable to organized labor. Labor is very dissatisfied, and there are no other unions joining the striking unions, because it appears that appears to be the conversation government understands.
For the Ghana Medical Association, though the meeting ended inconclusively, they are committed to engaging the government on their demands.
We have basically agreed to continue. We are done with today. Another meeting will be called, and then we'll all aim at getting a final solution.
What did you present to government, and who were at the meeting?
The details is what I have given you.
Who were at the meeting, sir?
You saw everybody who came here. The Minister of Finance, the Deputy Minister of Finance, National Security Minister, the Minister of Employment, and his deputy, the Minister of Education. They were all here. So you saw them. So that's
what did you present at the table? That's what I just want to know.
I have told you that we have agreed to meet at another meeting. Once we get to that level and any details are given, we'll all be ready to share.
The Deputy General Secretary of TUC, Joshua Ansam, indicated that developments at the meeting were expected as the government failed to present a proposal. He asked the government to find a lasting solution to the issue to avoid a labor unrest.
So I'm not disappointed at all.
But people would have expected that this meeting would have agreed on something. What did the Minister of Finance tell you? Was he able to put something on the table?
No, I know you weren't in the room.
Yeah.
Nothing was put on the table. And we want the betterment of our people and want very good things for our people. So any meeting that couldn't end today, we are sure that at the next meeting, maybe something good will come out of that.
One of your arms is off. That's the teachers. They have decided not to call off. Are you disappointed?
No, I'm not disappointed at all. Because you see, today's meeting was for organized labor. It wasn't for teacher unions meeting. It was organized labor, and organized labor include all the teacher unions and all other sector unions. So if you say that you want to deal with teacher unions in this matter, a matter that affects all workers in this very country, I don't think it's fair. So I'm not disappointed that they went away. I want government to actually find solution to this issue, to avoid further actions from other sector workers of this very country.
The Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rekubrobe, described as unfortunate the walkout by the teachers after an early appeal for them to reconsider their industrial action. Although he could not give timelines for the next meeting, Mr. Rekubrobe was however hopeful more engagement will be held to resolve the impasse.
Organized Labour suggested that we adjourn the meeting and do more talking for them to call off the strike, and then we start the negotiation. So that is where we are now. The call was from organized labor for us to adjourn so that we do more engagement. They themselves are going to talk to the teacher unions. We ourselves also do same, and then have a meeting, start negotiating for a better conditions of service for Ghana workers.
This will be the second time such an occurrence is happening in the month of July. I am Kojo Ajiman reporting for City News.
Twice in a row, negotiations have ended in a stalemate. Even for this, it did not begin at all on the part of the teacher unions because they walked out even before the meeting could begin. You see, my fear is the danger of other unions joining the strike. Currently, the other unions are demanding the COLA, but they are not on strike. We have 4 teacher unions that are on strike. If government does not change its posturing, or does not meet the unions halfway on this,
they wouldn't call off the strike.
Exactly. And then the others will join, and then there'll be more chaos.
And for me, I'm looking at it from this point of view that, like when 2 elephants fight, it's
the grass that suffers.
So certainly the children are going to suffer, or the students are going to suffer. How long are we going to keep tweaking or things affecting the academic calendar? Because we want a solution to this problem. They're asking for a 20% of their salaries, and they are saying that things are hard, which we can all attest to the fact that things aren't that easy. But I think they should come to a mutual understanding, a consensus. If negotiations will go on and they're going to call off the strike, they'll go into the classrooms and teach, I think they can do that. But government must also show some form of commitment that, okay, we are willing to solve or to meet you halfway or whatever the decision is, so that they are going to call off the strike. Because we don't want to see other unions join, because if other unions join, that means we are going to have halt in services at various public places, or say public organizations and all that, and that would affect the country greatly. So a consensus should be built. They should find a mutual understanding. And if the teachers are going to go back to class, and government must show commitment to ensure that they will solve the problem.
Well, clearly the unions have a case. I mean, if you consider the current cost of living in the country, they really have a case to demand the COLA, that's the cost of living allowance. But you see, my question or my issue has to do with the timeliness of the demands. We all will admit that we are in an economic crunch at this point, and there's actually a sheriff in town. The IMF is currently looking into our books. So, and we know that with the IMF, certain conditionalities will come. The last time we went, there was a freeze on public sector employment.
You understand? So I think that the teachers should also consider all these things. And we all bear with them, we all understand them, but they should also look at it from the students and the pupils' point of view. So what happens to them? But government as well must also work around it. There is economic hardship, we are all facing it. We are having financial issues here and there. People, and I heard on a station this morning that the teachers, some can be paid as low as say 1,600 or 1,500, 1,200 thereabout. And if you calculate it divided by say 30 days, if someone is living on 1,200 divided by 30 days,
transportation will take
how much
up
is the person going to save?
all the salary.
They have a point, and government must resolve it, and they should move to the various.
We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think about the stories we've brought to you so far. I mean, the OSP in court over the assets of late Sir John, and then also the issue of the demolition exercise at North Jowlu, and then the cost of living allowance being demanded by organized labor. We want to know what you think, and so you can catch us on social media at City TV or at City TVGH on Twitter. And then, of course, you can send us your WhatsApp messages via the number 0550-585832. I'm still here discussing the various stories with Philip Nilate of the City Newsroom. You're watching CNR Extra, still ahead. Lands Commission accuses Ideal College of unlawfully laying claim to state lands at Mempasem in the Greater Accra region. We'll be right back with the details. Stay with us.
Creamy Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Worship Hymn. Mayoram Yoklu, in conjunction with the Music Therapy Association of Ghana, a member of the World Federation of Music Therapy, is inviting you to an evening of uplifting worship with the theme Speaking to Yourselves in Psalms, Hymns, and Spiritual Songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Ephesians 5:19. Come and experience an atmosphere of worship in this concert with Mayoram Yoklu, Maolam Bacha, as well as other ministers of song. It's happening at the Makene Church International Headquarters, Oyibi, on Sunday, 17 July 2022 at 6 p.m. prompt. This concert will provide sign language translation for the hearing impaired. Worship Him. It's a night of pure worship. It's your night of redemption. Let's all come to worship Him.
You're welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on City TV. My name is Nanatufu Boate, and of course, I'm in the studio with Philip Nilate, bringing you a conversation or a discussion on the various stories that make it into our major news bulletin. We also like to hear from you, and so on Facebook, you can find us at City TV, and of course, on Twitter, it's at City TV GH. Let us know what you think about the stories we've been bringing you so far. Let's move into our next story, and of course, the issue of land acquisition, land encroachment, and land use in the country, and its challenges, of course, seem not to want to go our way. And now we're hearing of more of a confrontation between Ideal College and a government. This report will give you the details of that story, and then we can discuss it here.
Government has issued a stern warning to persons and entities who have illegally acquired or occupied state lands across the country to desist from such acts. The Lands and Natural Resources Ministry and the Lands Commission both issued the warning on the back of recent developments at the Ideal College near UPSA. At a press briefing, stakeholders involved in such activities were given notice of an impending demolition. City News' Kojajaman has more.
On Thursday, July 7, 2022, a team from Messrs. Anyok Holdings Limited, led by Clement Jato, allegedly stormed the premises of Ideal College in an attempt to halt ongoing developments on parcels of land belonging to government at Mempasam near UPSA campus. According to the school, the land in contention has been legally acquired by the school, which is in the process of putting up an assembly hall. The director of Messrs. Anyok Holdings Limited, Clement Jato, denied demolition any property belonging to the Legon branch of Ideal College. The land in contention is a state land at Mempasam in the Greater Accra region. It is the current site of the school near UPSA. It also has parcels of land in the same enclave. The Lands Commission, in whom state lands are vested, attempted to set the records straight on why the land occupied by the school is a state property.
The Commission, under the auspices of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, therefore contracted Messrs. Anyok Holding Limited to assist in the recovery of all the encroached lands and provide protection for the site to deter further encroachment and for implementation of the local plan. The Commission has given several notices since the year 2010 to persons engaged in these encroachments, including Ideal College, the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA, which has a hostel on the land, and several churches. The last being a press release on 16th April 2022 and public notice of demolition posted within the area in April 2022.
The Commission also accused the proprietor of the school of unlawfully laying claim to state lands. The Executive Secretary of the Commission cautioned the proprietor of the school to stay off state lands.
The proprietor, Dr. Joseph Kobna Isibu, had been advised to formally apply for regularization on 2 separate parcels of land within the enclave. It is therefore noteworthy that engagement with Dr. Isibu dates back to 2018. The 2 sites are the present site for the school with the hostel, approximately 2.50 acres, and the 4 plots proposed for a canteen, which is behind the school premises itself, approximately 0.40 of an acre. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the above, Dr. Joseph Kobna Isibu is currently laying claim to about 22 plots in addition, measuring approximately 3.060 acres, scattered within the area. Some of these he has sold to other persons and without recourse to the Commission. It is interesting that once the Commission, through its contractor Messrs. Anyok Holding Limited, cleared all squatters from the undeveloped lands, everyone is claiming a piece of the land.
The Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in charge of forestry and lands also issued a similar warning to persons who have also illegally acquired portions of the Sakumono Ramsar site near Tema.
For people who are developing within its course, the waterways are then blocking access of the water into the sea. And so those who are constructing in the waterways, those people, this is a warning to them. Very soon, we'll be coming there with the Regional Security Council. And when we get there, if we determine and we find out that you are in the waterway, yes, your building will be brought down. Yes. So we are still engaging, and then we are still doing our groundwork well. There is a previous boundary. That boundary has been encroached so much, and we are trying to draw another boundary, where at the end of it, the middle of that boundary will be treated as the core area. Yes. Anybody who will fall within that core area, then your building will be brought down.
I am Kojo Achman reporting for City News.
Right, so we know that there are some 22 plots in question. Ideal College, the director of Ideal College, laying claim to these lands, but from the clip we just saw, the Lands Commission says these are government lands.
Government lands.
Exactly, and we know that, well, there was a team, public lands protection team that was constituted somewhere last year to reclaim all such lands that belong to the government, and that is where Meshes Inok Holdings Limited come in. Yeah. So sort of a justification of the demolition exercise that was to happen last Thursday. However, or rather unfortunately, there was that confrontation or the clash between the students and the police there.
And that's what I always say, because the local authorities wield the power to ensure that if this land belongs to the government, why will you construct or build an apartment on it? Why will you take it up? MMDAs, the Metropolitan Municipal District Assemblies. You wield the power. You are supposed to ensure that these lands are not taken. When someone buys a land, you go to the Lands Commission to make checks to find out who really the owner of the land is. So I think that these things must be put in place, i.e. getting all these people in place, the local authorities, the Land Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, all the stakeholders who are supposed to ensure that state lands are not taken. I have a problem because you take the land, then say 10 years or some 15 years or 20 years, the whole building has to be demolished. Look at what happened at CSIR.
Exactly.
The state land were taken. Then they went there to pull down these structures. And one of the interviewees, when we were asking, where did you get the land from? He said, oh, I bought it from a human being. Where did you get it from? He said, I bought it from a human being. You understand?
Unable to identify or to give the name of this human being he or she bought the land
for him. So I think that the state authorities must be bold enough to take up these lands. And also, when you take up the land, you just don't leave it like that. You take up the land, you don't use it for the purpose that for which it's supposed to be used for.
It's
you leave it like
purpose.
that. Someone will definitely come and stay on it. And the person will build a plush apartment on it.
And it shouldn't end there. You see, we should be going after people who sell some of these lands to unsuspecting buyers. Well, clearly people want a place to stay.
That brings in the issue of landguardism.
Exactly, which is very, very serious. I mean, the law outlaws landguardism in this country, but we allow these people to act as if they are 10 gods in this country.
You go places and they are selling land everywhere, anywhere. Why would you even buy a land at Ramsar site?
Rather unfortunate. But let us know what you think. Send us your thoughts via WhatsApp 0550-585832 or on Facebook City TV or on Twitter City TV GH. Let us know what you think about the stories so far. We have more coming up, and on CNR Extra, we have the Speaker of Parliament constitutes ad hoc body of 5 parliamentary committees to probe the activities of the National Food Buffer Stock Company and the National School Feeding Program. Stay with us for the details.
Welcome to the This is Ghana exhibition.
It's time to show off the ingenuity, the innovation, and the brilliance of made in Ghana products and services with the This is Ghana exhibition 2022. For 2 incredible days on the 27th and the 28th of August 2022, CTTV and CTFM will allow you to experience the creativity of authentic Ghanaian products in the biggest trade fair and exhibition for local SMEs, startups, research and manufacturing industries, homegrown businesses, and indigenous corporate bodies Ghana has ever seen. We shall promote, support, and patronize various Ghanaian products, solutions, and services that are redefining the views on indigenous products and their packaging across all sectors in the This is Ghana exhibition, happening at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA, at 10 a.m. through till 5 p.m. each day on the 27th and the 28th of August 2022. Do you have that perfect solution or product proudly made in Ghana? Call us now on 0205 973 973 to showcase your made in Ghana product to the world. This is Ghana exhibition is powered by City TV and City FM. I'm made in Ghana.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on City TV. Let's take you to Parliament, where the Speaker really wants a committee, an ad hoc committee, to investigate the dealings of the National Food Buffer Stock Company and the National Food School Feeding Program, because there's some confusion with respect to feeding of students in school.
The Speaker of Parliament has constituted an ad hoc body of 5 parliamentary committees to probe the activities of the National Food Buffer Stock Company and the National School Feeding Program.
The mandate of the committees, among other things, is to look into the feasibility and sustainability of their organizations, especially in recent times when there are reports of food shortages in senior high schools and the demand from school feeding caterers for an increment in the cost of feeding students.
The Speaker gave these directives in Parliament after visiting the organizations on the 23rd of June. There's more in the following report.
The Speaker made the remarks on the floor of the House after visiting the organization earlier. His directive to the 5 committees was firm in the light of recent food shortage at some senior high schools.
I am directing leaders of the following 5 committees to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the activities of these 2 organizations and report to Parliament on the feasibility, sustainability, and state of affairs of the 2 programs. In view of the fact that I had earlier on referred some matters to these committees, I direct that the ad hoc committee reports to the House before the end of October this year.
A Deputy Minister for Finance, Abnor Seasare, later explained to the media why the media budget review had been postponed.
This first mission is more of data collection. And so that is exactly what they are doing. And like I said, with data collection, you need to give them everything that they are requesting for. So we need that time and space to attend to them. Just like you're doing an audit, you need to attend to whatever it is that they are asking for. And so once you do that and it's completed, we will come to Parliament and also submit the mid-year. And this is something we've been doing every time. And we scheduled the date for 13th before the announcement of the engagement with the IMF.
The Minority Leader Harry Naidruso also at a press briefing raised red flags about the supposed compilation of a new voters register by the Electoral Commission.
Our understanding as we pick it up is that the Electoral Commission of Ghana is desperately planning to discard the 2020 voter register.
Right. So the issue of feeding in schools, clearly we have food shortage in the schools. I mean, we can't run away from that fact. This morning I heard on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3, a storekeeper lamenting how more or less they are forced to double invoice or over invoice because government is not paying suppliers enough. And so to get food for your school, you would have to go per the terms of the supplier who wants you to over invoice.
And this is very important because you notice that the school feeding caterers, they also came out to state that they wanted some increment from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis. So if another body has been formed by the Speaker of Parliament to investigate this, it's very important. I spoke to the ranking member on the Education Committee, Peter Nochukotwe, who indicated that they are going to come out with a comprehensive report, and they are making sure that by 31st of October, they come out with the report so that all issues related to shortages of food in the various schools will be addressed.
All right. Thank you very much, Philip Nilate of the City Newsroom, for joining me on the show. My name is Nanatufuo Boateng. This has been CNR Extra. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.